multi-tab workflows, and recording common actions. So let me ask you something. How many browser tabs do you have open right now? 10, 20, 47? Now we have all been there. Bouncing between tabs, copying a number from one, pasting it into another, trying to hold three different pieces of information in our head at once. Now, what if Claude could just look at all of those tabs simultaneously and do the work for you? And what if you could teach it to repeat tasks you do every single week without ever showing it twice? Now, that's exactly what we are covering today. Welcome back. In this session, we are going beyond single tab browsing and into the features that turns Claude in Chrome from a helpful assistant into a genuine workflow engine. We are covering three things: multi-tab workflows, recording actions so Claude can repeat them, and scheduling tasks to run on autopilot. By the end, you will have the skills to eliminate some of the most tedious and repetitive browser work from your day. Starting with multi-tab workflows. Let us start with multi-tab. The concept is simple, but the impact is huge. So instead of asking Claude to work with one page at a time, you can group multiple tabs together and let Claude see and interact with all of them at once. And here is how it works. You drag the tabs you want Claude to work with into Claude's designated tab group. Now, once they are grouped, Claude can view and interact with every tab in the group simultaneously. No more switching back and forth. No more copying data from one tab and pasting it into another. Claude compiles information from all of those tabs without you lifting a finger. Let me show that to you once again. So this is one of the tasks that I have, and the moment I click on it, so it goes to my Google Search Console, looks at the traffic, and does all of the needed things. Now I can add multiple tabs inside this group. Now this becomes a part of this blogs.sawankumar.com group, and it can now take actions or do the needful. So let's say, for an example, you are comparing prices from three different vendor websites for the same product. You compare the pricing, the shipping costs, and warranty costs across these three vendors and ask it to tell you the best deal. Claude would read all three pages, pulls out the relevant details, and gives you a clean comparison. Now, this would have taken me maybe 10 minutes of flipping between tabs and building a spreadsheet. Claude would do it in seconds. And before moving ahead, this is a detail people overlook. Claude handles these multi-step tasks in the background. You can switch away to other tabs outside the group, check your email, and keep working. Claude keeps going. It doesn't need you watching. And this is powerful for research workflows. Cross-referencing data across multiple sources, pulling together information from several articles, comparing product specs, anything where the answer lives across more than one page. Now, moving on to recording common actions. So let's talk about workflow recording. And this is where things get really practical for anyone who does repetitive browser work. Now think about those tasks you do the same way every single time. Maybe you submit a form on an internal tool every Friday. Maybe you pull numbers from a dashboard and enter them into a web-based report. Maybe you log into three different platforms and check the same metrics. And these are perfect candidates for recording. And here is how you set it up. I think we already saw this in the previous session, but let's again see it for... So this button, Teach Claude, teaches the Claude, asks you to record, go through the steps as if you are teaching a new teammate. Claude will learn the process and repeat it for you depending on the frequency or how you want it to be repeated. Scheduling and shortcuts, we also spoke about this. This takes recording one step further, scheduling. Once Claude knows how to do a task, you can schedule it to run automatically. And this is pretty obvious, right? So once you are done with recording, let's say the Chrome Web Store, search for and done. I pause it. So you see it is starting to note down the steps. I say it has done. It is now generating a shortcut. It automatically generates a shortcut for this particular workflow. Now I can name this shortcut whatever I want to name it. I click on create a shortcut. This is the prompt, this is the start from, and I can now set up the schedule. Once, daily, weekly, monthly, annually. I can give it the date, the time, and the model to use and create a shortcut. Now whenever I want to run, I would simply click on this and write that name and enter, and it would run that workflow again and again and again. And that's easy. That's how easy it is. One more feature I want you to know about. When you have crafted a prompt that works really well, we just saw this. So the next one is the Chrome to Cowork pipeline. So before we wrap up this training section, I want to connect this to something bigger. Multi-tab research in Chrome pairs beautifully with Cowork. You do the web research and data gathering in Chrome, scraping data, comparing resources, extracting information, and then Claude takes those results into Cowork to create finished deliverables. Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint decks, polished reports. The browser is your input. Cowork is your output. So here is what I want you to do right now. Think of one task you do in the browser at least once a week that follows the same steps every time. Now it could be checking a dashboard, submitting a form, pulling a report, anything that's repetitive. Open Claude in Chrome, click the record icon, walk through that task once, and then stop recording. You have just automated your first browser workflow. Now if you want to go further, click on the clock icon and schedule it, and you will thank yourself next week when it just happens. And this brings us to an end with the key takeaways that we have. Multi-tab workflows, workflow reporting, and scheduled tasks and shortcuts is all that we saw here. These are a few resources that you can refer to whenever you want. Now, you know how to make Claude work across tabs, record workflows, and schedule them. But Claude in Chrome is just one tool in your toolkit. In the next session, we are going to zoom out and build a decision framework, so you always know whether to reach for Chrome, Cowork, computer use, or a connector for any given task. The clarity is what separates someone who tinkers with AI from someone who consistently